Ready?
All right. Pause up, everybody. Welcome to Meowy Hour. I'm your host, Arden Moore. This show is brought to you each and every Wednesday night by the Cat Fancier Association. And big shout out to our special sponsor, In Clover, the makers of dog and cat supplements. With me again each and every week. This is one of my ginger boys. We got Rusty the Performer. Casey, Pet Safety Cat Casey, is running around somewhere. Again, we have our special all-breed CFA judge and my co-pilot, the amazing Kathy Black. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
And we have our doggy designee, Destiny. I think we got to come up with a song for that. Doggy Destiny. My name is Destiny. Yeah. Doggy Destiny. Okay. And guys, a little drum roll. We have an amazing special guest today. She is talented in many fields. And for her, the love of cats, the love of professional breeding, the love of knowing how to groom a show-worthy cat and help raise dogs and be a nurse. Well, she started all this in diapers. It's an all in the family kind of a scene. Please welcome to Meowy Hour, the multi-talented Carissa Altschul. Thank you for coming, Carissa.
Thank you.
I love your shirt. Look at your shirt, man. It says it all.
Carissa from the famous Altschul family. Yeah.
Altschul, yeah. And shout out to your mom, Janet, I guess, and your sister, Rebecca, right? You guys all kind of live in the same property in Joshua, Texas. So this is cool. So guys, we got a lot to cover today. We're going to talk later in the show about the Bi-Color Persians. And that's because we not only have an all-breed cat judge in Kathy Black, but we got the Persian gal right here, Carissa. So it's going to be kind of fun. We have a perfect cocktail for you later in the show. And that is because it is hot everywhere. The drink is got strawberry in it. And I'm calling it, wait a minute, Rusty's going to help me turn the page. Rusty, help me. Okay, Arden, it's called the Strawberry Gin for the Wet Pretty Kitty Win. I know, Chris is like, how long is this show? Do I have to stay here the whole hour? But let's get into a little food facts about our cats. True. How many, you don't have to confess, but how many of you have maybe gained a few pounds since COVID? You know how they used to call it the freshman 15? Well, the COVID-19 doesn't just mean the name of the coronavirus, but for some, it means that we've been munching a lot and Netflixing a lot and gaining weight. But also our four-leggers are also apparently packing on extra weight. So I wanted to give you some tips and some information that might help you and your cat and your dog. So they did a study recently and it reported from veterinarians that 43% of cats examined since COVID started are deemed to be overweight or obese. Now, if a cat is about 30% above what their normal weight should be for them, that's the obesity scale. And here's the deal. 64% of people with those fat cats are in denial or they're defensive. No, my cat's not fat. My cat's big boned, right? So what I wanted to do is give you some tips for some safe weight loss. And with the help of my co-pilot, Kathy Black, there is an amazing site we all need to visit. And it is run by Dr. Ernie Ward. He's a great veterinarian. He created the Association for the Prevention of Pet Obesity. So I want you after the show to please go to petobesityprevention.org. And there's a lot of great tips and all to help you. I wanted to also share with you some tips to determine if your cat is fat. So, Carissa, we're not trying to embarrass Zabi, but can you pick up your American wire hair?
He's heavy. Here he is.
All right. What do you think? Is his nickname Slim?
No.
Okay.
Zabi.
So obviously there is no hourglass shape, right?
No.
How much that fat to me?
How much do you think he weighs about?
Probably about 15 pounds easily.
Okay, but I'm not sure an American wire hair, are they big cats normally?
They should be moderate to large, not overly so. They're not, but they're a medium-sized breed. Okay. Definitely not small.
All right. Well, when we have a cat that may tip the scale a little too much, the worst thing any of us can do, and this is advice from my veterinarian friends, please guys, do not put your cat on a crash diet. Don't just suddenly cut their meals in half, because here's the deal. Cats have real sensitive physiologies. And if you just kind of cut food off a little bit too much, their liver can be impacted. They can get a condition known as hepatic lipidosis, and it could be life-threatening. So easy and slow. In fact, it should be if a pet, no offense, Zabi, but if Zabi wanted to be slimmer or whatever, it could take a cat that's 30% above their ideal body weight a whole calendar year to slowly shed the pounds and ounces. So little goes a long way. And if you want to ever weigh a cat, good luck trying to hold your cat on as you step on one of those scales we do. Take one of those digital luggage scales, if you can, and have your cat in a carrier. First measure the carrier weight, then put the cat in the carrier and put it on a digital luggage scale. What do you guys think?
I have an easier way than that.
What's your easier way?
I weigh myself holding the cat, and then weigh myself not holding the cat. That tells me the cat's weight.
But some people have trouble holding the cat and looking down at the scale. So we got two options, right? Yeah. So we have no excuses. The other thing is we're going to learn from our special guest, Carissa. You can become your cat's personal stylist, because sometimes cats that are overweight or with arthritis or both, it's really hard for them to keep their coats well groomed, right, Carissa?
That could definitely be a problem.
Yeah, so you can't reach that spot, and so they need our help. So they also need to get those nice oils of their bodies effectively going all over the body to nourish the skin, because after all, the skin is the largest organ on the body. I like this. When your cat is starting to trim up, why don't you celebrate with before and after photos on your social media outlets? One of our friends who was on the show, and that is Joette White, who runs Park City's Pet Sitter, she got a Bengal dropped off that was morbidly obese. Cruiser was his name, still his name. And he was like 25 pounds. And it took him over a year and a half, and they got him slim, but he got one of those wheels. Mm-hmm. He loved doing the wheels. And he also had, his food was in a timer that would pop out the kibble so he couldn't overeat. So it can be done, guys. Anything else you guys want to add about that?
Yeah, it's just like with us people, it's harder to take it off than it is to put it on.
Yeah, amen. I'm on the way back because I gained some COVID stuff. So food is essential. Food is fuel, but we want to make sure that food is not a stress helper or whatever. And our cats love to play. Put it in a food puzzle. Do a wand toy. Even a few minutes of kitty aerobics a day can make a difference, and you're bonding with your cat. So there you go. All right. So check out, if you would, petobesityprevention.org. A lot of great tips out there for you. at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Kathy Black because we have a segment called CFA Minute. Take it away, Kathy.
Sure. Okay. I was just going to quickly talk about there's shows that are popping up. You know, we had one a weekend, and maybe there was a weekend with two. This last weekend, there was three. This next weekend, there's three. So shows are starting to happen again, and they're actually accepting spectators, a lot of them.
Oh.
So if you were wondering where there's a show you can visit in your area, go to CFA.org. Under the shows and awards, you click that. There's several different ways you can look at it. You can search our event calendar. You can look at the exhibitor calendar. There's also a plain text show listing, which is searchable. So
I like that.
If you are wanting to see if there's something in California, you can just go down the bottom here and type in California, you know, and it will bring up the Californias on this page. So just real quick, check this out. It changes all the time. This text one is the official version from CFA. The other two are on the website, but check it out. Visit a show near you if it's available for you to visit. Be very safe and wear your mask and social distance and all that stuff, but go and enjoy seeing all our beautiful cats.
I like that. Now, you mentioned there's actually the first one since 19 is going to be in California, right?
Yeah, finally, that region has been without for over a year. So they're excited to finally have a show happening out in California.
All right. I hope there's a gold rush of goodness.
They got a good entry, so they should have a good time.
Hey, before we get into speaking with Carissa, we got to announce what was the answer to last week's trivia. And we're going to tease you and taunt you and work your brain on this week's trivia question. We're going to give away, I think, we have three prizes. One is from our great sponsor, and that is a 4-pack of the In Clover cat treats. So, guys, look, we got Flow, Smile, Spry, and Sleek. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors, In Clover. You can save yourself 10% at checkout. Just go to inclover.com and at checkout, make sure you add that discount code Meowy InClover21 and you get yourself 10% off, which is a pretty nice deal. So, Kathy, are we giving away Deb Barnes books too from this question, or they were other questions, right? The winners of Deb Barnes's books?
There was one In Clover winner and two winners of Deb's books.
Okay, so here was the trivia question. It was, cats are crepuscular. That word crepuscular is a Latin word meaning what? And the answer is twilight, because they're active at dusk and dawn. So Kathy, who's the lucky winner of the 4-pack of In Clover?
That was Cheryl Boyer. So Cheryl was the winner of the In Clover Wellness Treats.
All right, Cheryl, pause up, way to go. All right, then we had the amazing Deb Barnes on. She's the past president of the Cat Writers Association. She's an award-winning author and blogger, and she was giving away 2 of her books. I have one of them. I have both of them, actually. Making the Biscuits and the Chronicles of Zoe and of Z and Zoe, the Chronicles of Z and Zoe about her ginger cats. Remember, she's the one who did create the National Holiday Pet Remembrance Memorial Day. So, Kathy, who's the lucky winners that got autographed books from Deb?
Well, some of our repeat winners, the Making Biscuits was Mary Ann Toff, a very loyal follower of us.
Yes, and Mary Ann had a birthday recently. Happy birthday, Mary Ann.
Then the Chronicles of Z and Zoe went to Lisa Altschul, which Janet and Carissa know very well. So congratulations to Lisa and to Mary Ann.
All right, so let's see what up for today is a 4-pack of the In Clover cat supplements. Let's see how you are. Now, special guest Carissa, don't answer. Don't even act like you know the answer. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So there's many cat categories in the Guinness World Records. So dealing with the weighty issues of cats, here comes tonight's trivia question. And I promise you it is quite hairy. All right, you're all intrigued? The world's furriest domestic cat, not lion. Her fur, this cat hails from Oceanside, California. And that's kind of my adopted hometown. I lived there many, many years. Her fur, this cat's fur that landed her in the Guinness World Records, measures 10.11 inches long. That's pretty long, right, Carissa?
Yeah.
All right. So she beat out the former record holder, who was named, I love this name, Colonel Meow. I love people with their cat names. All right. So who is the name? What is the name of the cat since 2014? Who is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the longest, the furriest cat, domestic cat? I'm going to give you 4 names to choose from. Is this cat named A, Callie? Is the cat's name B, Pumpkin? Is the cat's name C, Sophie? Or is the cat's name D, Tammy? Callie, Pumpkin, Sophie, or Tammy? So go ahead and send in your answers right now on Facebook. And Kathy, you always give them a time through the weekend, right?
Yes, it'll be Sunday afternoon when I pull the winners.
All right. What did you think of that question, Carissa?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a lot of hair.
That's a lot. You know,
I don't have to measure for mine.
Years ago, I had a husky / golden retriever. So I worked my vacuum cleaner and my Furminator brush a lot. And one time I just started brushing Chipper, my dog, and kept brushing and kept brushing. I'm not kidding. She stood with her big husky smile and the mountain of hair came up to her nose. I think I probably could have knitted like 4 sweaters out of it. All right, we're going to dive in to learn a little bit more about Carissa Altschul. Now, she was on our show before when we were doing a breed profile, right, Carissa?
That's correct.
And she's here today to talk about a lot of different things. And I want to, if we could, just go back into time. You were born in, I'm not going to say 19, but you were in diapers. And I read somewhere that your mom, who breeds cats like you do, you were in the crib while your mom was grooming cats?
Some of my earliest memories are actually being in a show in a crib at the end of the benching row, just sitting in the crib looking through the bars. And yeah, I could see my mom and yeah.
So your siblings were cats in a way. I know you got a sister, Rebecca, but what do you think about, what do you think about being around cats since diaper days?
Well, I mean, that's just was life. So I can't really say like I knew it was anything strange. That was, we grew up around cats.
I love it. I love it. And folks, she really does do a lot for the Cat Fancier Association. She has served 2 elected positions. She's been the regional director for the Gulf Shore twice. And she's in her 4th term, guys, as the Persian Breed Council Secretary. And she helped found the CFA's mentor program. So let's get all back to something. Persian Breed Council Secretary. What does that mean? For us that are not, because we draw people from all over the world to Meowy Hour, and some are professional breeders and show at cat shows, and others want to get in, maybe even with their household cats.
So in CFA, the breed council secretaries that represent each breed, our goal is, and we're elected by people who are on the breed council, and there's criteria to get on there. You have to breed, you have to show, you can't just be, just anyone. We're elected to represent, the majority of the people who are on the breed council. We're elected to, you know, help protect your breed. You're elected to speak to the CFA board of directors on behalf of your breed. So it's just like any elected official, you are elected to represent the people who elected you and to protect their interests. In the case, this is the Persian breed.
Which is, you know, not very common. Isn't it like one of the top 3 breeds?
But we've been up there. I know recently outside in the U.S., there's no question that the Persian is the #1 breed. And we are the largest breed council as well.
Okay.
So we have, generally our membership ranges around 200 members.
Wow.
There's a lot more Persian breeders out there, but some of them either don't know about the breed council or just haven't joined yet. But, you know, in CFA, Persian's not the most popular breed anymore. We were for decades, but we still are in North America.
Yeah, I've read that before. Now, what does it mean? Because I was reading that you have helped create databases for Persians, American Shorthairs, and American Wirehairs. And I also want to definitely mention your cattery. It's CACAO, cacao. Did I do it right? Yeah.
Yes. That's how we pronounce it anyway.
Okay, CACAO.
There's a pedigree database. It's actually kind of an older one, but there's a place that hosts pedigrees, and I contributed some of our database to it. Certainly we are not the largest database on there, but it's a great website for people to start their research on cat pedigrees. I always tell people who are interested in breeding, it's not just putting some pretty cats together with some titles. You got to really know the pedigrees and learn, you know, what's behind your cats so you can breed ethically as well as, you know, breeding nice cats.
Because I think it dovetails right into this. You are a CFA mentor. What does that mean? Because it sounds like you used to be a high school science teacher, so you're still schooling people in a good way about purebreds.
I'd like to help people. I mean, the cat fancy is not going to continue without, you know, helping new breeders and helping them learn. And I have all this knowledge, not because I just magically got it on my own. It's because people shared it with me. So I feel like the breeders, particularly those of us who are more visible in the cat fancy, we should be helping new breeders. And I like helping people. It's, you know, I don't just go to the shows to show my cats. I go to the shows to help other people.
Well, I heard that about you. Yeah, you're very good about giving back. So can you share a few tips to help some newbies prepare for a cat show? What would you offer?
Well, if they don't have any cats yet that they're ready to show, my #1 recommendation for someone who is interested in entering the world of showing and breeding is to start with a neuter or spay. It is going to be a low-cost way to enter the cat fancy, and it allows you to come in without worrying about hormones or worrying about, you know, female cycling or a male wanting to breed. And it lets you open doors, you know, get into the show hall with a cat that's your pet, and it just makes it a lot easier to speak to other people when you're actually showing a cat. If you come to a show as a spectator, sometimes the people showing there are they're busy. They're not going to have the time to talk to you. But if they see you showing a cat, they're definitely going to be a lot more interested in talking to you and helping you.
Okay. Well, as some of these places are opening up a little bit and people are able to show, especially newbies, any tips on how to keep your kitty safe and feeling a little bit, you know, chill?
Oh, at the show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I will tell you is if you ever go to a cat show, you will see that the cats spend 90% of their time in a cage of some sort. Whether it's a sturdy enclosure or a fabric cage or a wire cage, they spend most of their time in the show in a cage. So you need to make sure your cat is comfortable being in a cage. Also, you want to make sure, because there's a lot of loud noises that happen at shows. Primarily the things I've seen spook cats are feedback on speakers, people talking really loudly, trash bags being opened, and the inevitable somebody drops a metal food bowl on a concrete floor and it goes clang, clang, clang. So I'm purposely very noisy around my cats at home. I play loud music. I'll turn on TV shows. You know, some of those talk radio shows where people are yelling at each other, I may turn it on real loud. I'll drop things on the floor, you know, open up a trash bag, make a ton of noise with it. You know, you don't want anything at the show to be something that they haven't at least have some experience with at home. And then they're going to be like, oh yeah, whatever. Trash bag opening. Mom's done that 1,000 times. Like, I care. So you don't want your home, if you've got a quiet home, you've got to find a way to make it a loud home for your cat. You know,
so if I walk into your house in Joshua, Texas, is there going to be, now with the rain, I can show her. You're going to have like a little mic night there?
It's not all the time. You just do it some of the time. You know, you got to give them a rest time. But people who have small children have a big advantage because small children naturally are noisy and just chaotic. And that really helps make a cat a good show cat.
All right. You had a third, I think you were going to give a third one. So getting them accustomed to different sounds, because that helps them, being able to enter with a neuter or a spay as your first.
And make sure that they're used to being in a cage.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
now, I've seen some of these cages and they look like they should be sets from HGTV. They're pretty lavish.
We like to decorate them. That's kind of a thing. You know, we have these cage drapes and they'll have beads and sequins and you know, that's your individual taste. You don't have to by any means. You can just use, you know, plain sheets, but a lot of us, that's kind of how we express our creativity.
No, baby, you got to be feline fabulous. Fabulous, right?
Yeah, there's even pink boas sometimes. So, yeah.
Well, I also want to thank you because you were a high school science teacher and now you're a nurse, and we're going to just touch a little bit on it, but cats are helping you, but we live in crazy times. You are working on a COVID, you've helped COVID patients, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Since the beginning.
So how are cats helping your sanity and helping you from a hard day?
Well, work is definitely challenging. I work with a great group of people, but the stress that kind of never stops from the moment you walk in the door until you leave. So having the cats and having the cat shows and all my friends at the cat shows, it's definitely something that allows me to just kind of have an outlet that is not work, that is not sick people. And I when I'm in a cat show, I'm at a cat show. I try not to think about work. You know, when I'm at work, I'm at work. But it's nice to have that outlet.
Yeah, I think, you know, my sister was a nurse for many years in ER, critical care and all that. And you have to have sometimes a sense of humor because things can get kind of but you have to have an outlet. And I'm glad it isn't a bottle of whiskey. I'm glad it's a Persian for you.
Yeah. It takes a lot of time to groom, so yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Groomer has it that you're very good, and one of the qualities, like an all breed judge like Kathy's going to be looking at, is the quality of the coat. And talk to us a little bit about the challenges of a breed like a Persian and how important to keep that show quality coat.
Well, naturally, you know, any cat, they're going to play and rough tumble. And of course, when a lot of problem with long hair breeds, when they eat or drink, they get their ruff wet, you know, this hair under their chin, and that can stain. So a lot of the Persian breeders, we kind of train our cats to drink from a water bottle, or we use these bowls with small openings called beehive bowls.
Really? So they don't dribble?
Yeah, so that they don't. A lot of them, they'll drink, like, you know, here's the bowl, like this cup, and they'll go, and they'll stick all their rough hair in the water.
Oh, no.
It'll actually, and you got to be careful with that, even if you've got a cat at home, because it can mildew. It can actually grow like a mildew, like this horrible, and it's very irritating to the cat. And the only way to fix that really is to shave it. If they start doing that and then try to train them to drink differently, but it's something that, you know, could be a health problem for the cat, not just an aesthetic thing.
Well, you have, is your cat Yeet around?
Yeah, I have Yeet.
Okay, so let's put Yeet up if we can. Yeet, tell us a little 411 on Yeet. This is a Persian boy, right? Look at this beautiful boy. Look at him.
Persian male. Okay. He's 8 months old. He's a grand champion.
Well, oh my gosh! Wait a minute. Can I say, Sir Yeet? Nice to meet you.
Look at that. I would say that Persian is groomed properly. The fur is like water. It just flows. And Carissa is one of the best. She presents her cat so beautifully. And that's a labor of love to make a cat's coat look like that.
So what is Yeet's personality like? And then let's do some grooming tips, if you don't mind. I know you're going to probably focus the screen more on this very sweet boy. He is a beauty.
He's a mess. He tries to bite my fingers.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets a little hyped up at the shows.
He's a flirt.
So the reason why his name is Yeet is because I don't know if you know the term Yeet, but Yeet is a. Sorry, I'm kind of standing, but he is a.
That's all right.
He doesn't really think before he leaps. He just kind of goes. So that's how his registered name is Intrusive Thoughts. Which, if you know what intrusive thoughts are, there are, you know, those things that come into your mind that you're not supposed to do. Like you're in a conversation with somebody you don't like, and you're like, what would happen if I just reached out and slapped him? But you know you don't do that. You have that stop in your brain that says, don't do that. He doesn't have any stops. He just does it, which is why he chews on judges' hands at the shows. We're working on that.
Okay.
But usually when I put him down on a table, he just grabs whatever he can get his mouth on.
Look at him. Look at him. Man, that's his favorite toy.
Oh, he's very playful.
No, he likes every toy. This toy, that toy.
And he's pretty
towel.
good with...
It doesn't matter.
He's pretty good with sounds, right? You've acclimated him to different sounds?
Oh, yeah.
And how is he at traveling?
Well, he's a little bit of a brat. Usually I have the cats travel in like a hard plastic carrier. He doesn't like that. It's too small. So he gets to travel in a larger fabric crate that's about 30 by 24.
Okay, so he has this beautiful coat, and I know we've got Kathy here too. Can you show us and give us some grooming tips? Because I just love how his hair just falls into place, unlike mine. As you can tell, I am not part Persian. My hair is quite short.
All right, so when we talk about grooming, you really have to talk about the tools that you use in grooming. So I have a few things here. Now, you will hear most people, when they talk about having a long-haired cat, they're like, how often do I brush it? This is a pen brush. It's a Chris Christensen brush. I don't know if you can, it won't label. Okay. Yeah. It won't fix. Anyways, it's a Chris Christensen brush of 27. And I will tell you, this is useless for like grooming an average long-haired cat.
Okay.
This is also a brush. This is what's called a slicker brush, or it's also by Chris Christensen. And this is something that's from my show bag. An average person, not going to really need that. I like this one for a cat that has a lot of coat. This is a comb. You can actually get it on Amazon. It's from Top Performance. And I want you to notice how wide these teeth are.
Yeah, there's a wide gap. Yeah, wide gap between the teeth.
This is great for a cat with a lot of hair.
Okay.
So then I have a selection here of metal combs. So I've got this poodle comb. And I've got,
you got that for Destiny, right? This Destiny?
Poodle comb. And I've got, this is another Chris Christensen comb. This is a comb that I can't find anymore. And of course, it's my favorite. And then I got
what kind is this? What would this be? Because it's got wide and narrow.
These are called Greyhound style combs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I use on my short hair. Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's a metal comb like this, these are Greyhound style. They come in different sizes with different widths and lengths to the teeth.
Okay.
The key thing about these kind of combs is they're not all made equal. And what you really need to do is you rub it like this and you find out if it's smooth. Like it shouldn't catch your finger at all. If it's
right, I'm doing this right now and it's real smooth. Is that good?
If it's smooth, that's good. And you got to feel a bunch of different ones. But if it's rough, it's going to catch your cat's hair and just yank it out.
No, this one's smooth. Okay.
Yeah. And that's not comfortable for your cat. So really,
wow. I didn't know that. I mean, seriously, that's a great tip, Carissa.
Well, you've got to feel a lot of combs to really get to know what the feel is. And it's kind of hard to tell if you just have one. But you do want to take good care of your combs. Don't let them sit in water and rust. If you get a nice comb, you just have one or two cats, it could last you years. You don't have to keep
it should last forever. Yeah.
So if I only had one tool to pick from, if I was going to teach them how to groom, it would be this. This is fine coarse.
Okay.
It's about 8 inches long, I guess. I don't know, 8, 10. I didn't measure it. But this is my favorite comb. And this is what I can use to comb and groom anything. But before you start grooming, you need to clip your cat's nails. Because the nails grow. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm afraid to groom my cat because it's going to scratch me. So I clip my nails with human nail clippers. So this is nail clippers. This toenail clippers. It really doesn't matter which you use. I don't really like the ones that are sold for pets. They just don't work for me. I was raised using these. And it's important that you use a pair that's not old, because these blades, they get kind of dull. And if it's dull, when you go to clip your cat's nails, it'll kind of shred it a little bit.
Yeah,
which
split them.
Yeah.
So I call it, when I get my cats, they go in the bathroom, we got treats, we make it a mani-pedi kind of time, and I'm very calm and quiet, and they get little treats. So give us some tips to get our cat conditioned to have a mani-pedi.
Well, you definitely want to get them used to handling your feet. So from a very, very young age, you should get them used to you handling their feet and, exposing that nail, which is, that's what I have Zabi for, is to show you.
Okay, so Zabi is our beautiful American wire hair. So take it away, Zabi.
Yeah, I actually prefer the nail clippers for the cats.
I do too. I don't like those Dramos. I don't like those other things. I feel like I'm more accurate and be able to find it quick.
And you always want to, so the nails like this, you want to come up like this. Don't turn it sideways and go in like this. You're more likely to go too deep. You should come in like this.
Oh,
so
nice.
Like the nails, and you're going to clip right here. And on a cat like Zabi, who's got, I don't know if you can see his nails, but you can kind of see where the quick starts. He's going to be grumpy. He's going to be grumpy with me. So you expose the nail and then just clip it. He's getting grumpy with me. Oh, that's nice, Zabi. So
I know I'm on TV.
Zabi's decided he's had enough.
But you know what? As somebody that's in the behavior field, I love what you just did. You didn't force it. You're just like, okay, Zabi's having a moment.
Yep.
Right.
So
who's this one?
This is a little black and white kitten.
Is this an exotic long hair?
This is the exotic long hair, actually. She's a little pet kitten I had.
And how old is she?
She's 4 months old.
Oh my gosh.
And she's not been groomed very much. So she's kind of a good example to kind of show, basic combing and grooming. Most people, when they get a pet kitten, it's around this age. Yeah. And it's probably been groomed, some by the breeder, but it may not have been groomed a lot.
Okay.
She's not freshly bathed. She had a bath about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So same thing. I'm going to start with nail clipping. Just kind of, I reach my hand down and then expose the nail, cut. Expose the nail, cut. I've done this for a while, so I can do it pretty fast. That was the entire paw. And
you know what you don't do, which I love? You don't apologize.
Oh, no. When some people tell me, they're like, that's the whole other paw. I just did the other one too. Yeah. Some people tell, oh, my cat would never let me do that. And I go, you give them a choice. You don't ever want your cat to think that they won, because if they learn that a little bit of misbehavior teaches them that you're done, then they'll misbehave worse the next time.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of petting her, telling her it's fun. And as I have these toys, I like to have toys for when I groom.
Yeah.
So the cats are like, oh, this is fun. We're having fun time too. We're not just grooming.
I like that. I like that very much. Yeah, you don't have to make it scared or torturous. I love that you're doing it. I give a couple of treats to them after they do their front paws, and I give a treat after they do their back paws. But I think I should do the feather wand too. That's a great idea.
And I always groom like up on a table. I'm not grooming on the floor. I don't groom in my lap. I'm grooming up on a table where I have more control over the cat. I get them used to it. So if it's a cat I'm going to show, by the time we go to the show, they know they're just supposed to stay on this table.
Yeah. Well, this kitty's only 4 months old and is already getting nail clips and playing and doesn't even think it's a big deal, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's purring. She's having fun. So before I bathe the cat, I'm going to comb them out, and you'll probably see me do this a lot, where I just kind of flip the comb around. And it's just, I always start with the coarse end, and I'm generally just going to start at the front of the cat, lift up the head gently, and I'm just going to kind of comb. Now, one thing I see a lot of people do when they comb, and it drives me nuts, when you're combing a cat, do not twist up. Like I see people comb like this. Don't do that. You're going to rip your cat's coat out. It should be a straight movement.
Good.
And she's got a little mat here, so I'm just going to kind of work it out. And then I'm going to flip to the more narrow side, and it's just a little mat, no big deal. Yeah. Persians get mats, and she's not screaming, she's not upset with me. Just going to kind of work my way down her ruff. And then I'll generally just go straight down the back, just so they kind of get used to the comb. And I'm again, none of this, don't do this.
Yeah. Thank you for showing the right way. Yes.
I see people doing this at shows, and I'm not kidding when I say I take their comb out of their hand. I say, quit pulling the hair out of your cat. You know, and I'm like, you gotta go straight. So I go through with the coarse, I flip it over, and I'll go through with the fine.
Can you come and do my hair?
And you just don't ever do this. Even if you're trying to fluff your cat, which is, you would only need to fluff your cat at the show. Don't do this because you're ripping the hair out. So now I want to get the underside, which is always the more difficult side.
Okay.
Yes, the armpits are always a problem.
So flip her over, and she's kind of like, nope. So I just kind of, when she gets upset, I'll let her roll back, but I never let go of that foot until I'm done with it. And then I like that. She got a little mat, and then she's like, nope, don't like it. I'm going to go to the coarse side. I know. She says, that wasn't fun.
How about the tail? Oh, sorry. Go finish the underside.
Yeah, I just flipped her over. See,
oh my gosh.
You know, that's normal for Persians.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Scruff her. You can scruff. This doesn't hurt the cat.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Mama does. But I actually prefer to use a grip where I kind of come up behind the shoulders.
I like that.
Yeah, supporting the weight.
Because you kind of control the front paws a little bit more that way.
Yeah, and I'm not hurting her. And she's fine with it. But, you know, she hasn't been groomed for a couple of weeks. So this amount of hair on the comb, this is normal. This is not like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. You know, and you just throw
when you're grooming, you're spreading those essential oils, skin oils, right?
Right. And if in between bathing, and we will talk about bathing here in a minute, but in between bathing, you should be combing your cat. And I said, this brush, this just doesn't do anything. It doesn't get the combs, the mats out. It's not going to do anything. I use a brush, and this is great for a show if I want to fluff the coat up, short strokes, and I can fluff her coat up and make it look really special. And she's like, yeah, thanks.
Wow, she's ready. She's ready for the nightclubs.
I've always preferred a comb, even on my short hair cats. I prefer a comb, and I comb Destiny, and Destiny hates a comb. She prefers a brush because if I hit a snag at all, she has a heart attack over it.
But, how about the tail? And because we got about 3 or 4 more minutes, and then we're going to get into Bi-Colored Persians. But go ahead and talk.
The tail is the same thing. I generally use the coarse. I'm going to go with, and I forgot to say, always go with the flow of the coat. Don't go against it unless you find a mat. So I just kind of comb down. No biggie. And then I had already combed part of it, and then just kind of go under the underside. That's it. She's been completely combed out.
And then you know what you've just done? You've got her used to being handled, which makes her better getting examined at the veterinarian, better to be a contender at a cat show. There's a lot of wins, right?
Right. I'm going to mute it because my dogs are barking. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry. We don't care. We're fine. We're fine. In her household, everybody, they also breed, your sister breeds German Shepherds, and your mom, who lives in that big complex, breeds, what is the other breed? Maltese. So it's a cat and dog place, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who really rules?
The humans.
Okay. Oh! I thought it was gonna be the cats.
No.
What you were starting to say? You wanted to show something else as a tip.
So, okay. So I said I was going to talk about shampoos and stuff because you have to bathe your cats. I mean, that's, especially with your long hair cats, and they should be used to it. So I'm just going to cover like a few basic things. One thing you got to remember, you've been talking about the oils with Persians. Persians are oily. They're very, very oily. So I use Groomer's Goop. This is Groomer's Goop. You can get it off Amazon.
Okay.
And it's great. And you use a lot of this. Now, I do wet the cat down first. There's some people who do it dry. I don't really think you need to do that. Just wet the cat down first with the Groomer's Goop, and then work it in real good so the cat's all slimy. You rinse until the cat's completely, the water coming off the cat should be clear when you're done with that. So there's that.
Is that different than the regular goop, like the mechanic's goop?
You know, it doesn't work as well anymore. And it could have been, when I moved from Arlington to Joshua, the regular goop didn't work for me anymore. So I got the groomer's goop and it works better, but I don't use this every bath. If it's a cat I've been bathing,
so you don't know if it's the same thing or not. It must be a little different formulation.
Okay.
Yeah. This is supposed to have lanolin in it. I don't know. Okay. I just use what works.
Okay.
So then I use this. This is Dawn.
Yeah.
and notice it's Dawn Platinum. It's safe for animals. And I love this. This is great. And another degreaser that I like if I've got a really greasy cat is F&T. And this is diluted. You don't have to use this full strength. In fact, I think it works better if you dilute it. I dilute it probably 30% shampoo, 70% water, and it's great. So one thing I always like to emphasize with people is degreasing your long hair cat is the way you're going to keep it from matting, because what causes matting most of the time, if it's not shedding, it's the oils in the coat. So if you don't get those oils out, and then of course you condition toward the end, and we can talk about that another time, you don't get those oils out, your cat's not going to get clean. And then of course, when it comes to drying,
yes,
you need a blow dryer.
Okay.
You can get a lot of fancy blow dryers, a lot of pet blow dryers. This is Walmart, like $23.
Yeah.
And it works great.
What setting and how do you angle it?
So I actually have a device that it can hold it, which I didn't bring with me, but it's a dog grooming thing that holds the dryer about here.
So you can mount the dryer?
Yes. And I comb out the cat completely first while it's wet, and then I will, I use this. And when they're first really wet, I'll go all the way high setting, high heat. As we're getting near the end of the dry, you want to switch to medium heat.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever had your hair done at a stylist, and when your hair starts getting dry, it gets real hot on the scalp. Yeah. And the cat will start getting fussy. So that's why you need to switch to medium so you don't burn their skin.
Okay.
And you need to make sure that they're as close to being dry as possible, because if you don't, their coat can kind of crimp up afterwards.
And especially in the armpit area, they'll mat.
Yeah.
Some breeds will mat if you don't get them dry.
Yeah. So I try usually the underside first and then the top. And then as far as grooming sprays, you're gonna laugh, but this is my main grooming spray. This is Pantene. This is Pantene Repair and Protect. And this is what I use. Like if I'm combing out a cat and they're really staticky and I'm having a difficult time getting some mats out, I will spray either this or water. I have water mister or Pantene, and that really helps. Wow. I do want to cover one other thing about cat grooming.
Okay.
I know you're short on time, but here's
we do have a couple things we got to cover, but we've got about a minute. Let's do it. Okay.
Never, 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 never cut a mat out of a cat.
Good. Never. Thank you.
I have seen so many people who are like, "Oh, I've done it all the time. I've never hurt my cat," and then they do. And
you're a nurse too, guys. Listen to her. She raises a cattery and she's a nurse. So come on.
A scissor cut on a cat is one of the worst things for them to heal from. A lot of times they have to go to the vet and get stitches, depending on how bad the cut is. Just never use scissors on your cat. Never. I don't care what kind of scissors they are. Whatever. Don't use scissors. If the cat is so bad you think you can't comb out the mat, take it to a groomer and let them. They can use clippers like this, and they can clip the cat down on a lion cut, and you can start over. It is not worth hurting your cat. So I just really wanted to emphasize that.
Use a seam ripper. You could use a seam ripper to try to.
I wouldn't even recommend that, because I've seen people when the cat jerks, they poke the cat with the seam ripper.
Oh,
so I would just say, if you can't comb it out, take it to a groomer. It's not worth hurting your cat or yourself.
You are like a wealth of information, Carissa, and I hope sometime you'll come back. But guys, we just got some amazing tips for not only us run-of-the-mill cat folks, to people that want to enter their cats in cat shows. And Carissa, thank you. I really have learned a lot. And at this time, you guys are going to team up and talk a little bit about the Bi-Colored Persians while I go off the air to get ready for my drink.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you,
Okay,
Carissa.
I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of slides here. Then Carissa, you feel free to chime in. I thought that these timelines were interesting. I did brought this up off CFA's website, and it said that in the 1800s, the first bicolors were imported from Persia and Turkey. In 1900s, then these cats were being shown. but then they kind of fell out of favor because people thought they were spoiled solids or spoiled tabbies, and actually banned them from being shown. And then in the 50s, the calicos were accepted. In 1970, the bicolors were accepted because, you know, there for a long time, it was just either solids or tabbies. And that was the breeds that, or the color of the Persians that they were, you know, pure. So the bicolors were kind of looked at.
Also,
say what?
The smokes were also an early one that were one of the first color divisions were blues and blue smokes. The tabbies actually came later, which I've always found interesting, but the smokes were there from the beginning.
So, you know, I think we can all agree that these cats are just absolutely gorgeous. You know, they come in all the different colors and patterns. So you have those that have the tabby markings. A calico, of course, is a cat without any tabby markings. You have most of the Persians anymore have the high white, and that was really what was more in favor for showing. But then as times have changed, even the cats without white on their face, which used to be the Persian breeder said, oh, no white on his face, pet it out, you know. And so now we're starting to even see very beautiful bicolor Persians that don't have white on their face. And of course, anytime you do have the white, you can have a blue eye. So we're starting to see blue-eyed bicolors, odd-eyed bicolors, just a little more flash to the cat. But these cats, of course, in the calico bicolor division, they have to have white somewhere on them. And so that's all I had. You wanted to add anything, Carissa, to that?
Well, I think the bicolors are probably the most popular division of Persians right now. I think by registrations, it's the bicolors and the solids that generally have the highest. The high appeal of the bicolors is the fact that a very good friend of mine, she's passed away, but she said it was like an Easter basket. You never knew what you were going to get when you got a litter. The piebald gene doesn't follow any set pattern, no matter how much we try to make it into a pattern early on by requiring the white to be in certain places. Right. As we worked with the gene more, we realized you can't really control too much where those markings are going to go. So you can get cats that are marked really crazily, and it's fun. So they're a very popular breed. They usually are the largest division when you go to a show, and they're just a lot of fun. I've enjoyed having them for some time.
And I've heard that discussion before, that the breeders say it's like an Easter basket. You just never know exactly what you're going to find. Yeah. We did have someone ask a question: how do you keep your white Persian, your Persian's white feet white? How do you keep them clean? You want to just briefly touch on that?
You know, the feet is honestly nothing. I really haven't struggled with keeping the feet clean, and the faces are usually the bigger problem. But with the feet, my biggest your litter could be the problem. If you're using like one of those gray clay litters, they could definitely stain the feet. We use pine pellets. And I've seen some people with pine pellets, sometimes they struggle with staining. But honestly, I think if you keep the environment clean, the cat's going to stay clean. So you need to, it's not just vacuuming, but you should also be, spraying down with a mild disinfectant and cleaning very, very often. Anywhere where the cat is, you don't realize how dirty your floors are, but get a white paper towel, spray some water on it, and wipe where your cat is walking, and it'll probably be brown if it's not a carpet. And you'll see, oh, this is why my cat is stained. As far as keeping their faces clean, I mean, you've got to clean them every single day if they've got a white face. And it's, you can't just take an off day or whatever. It's every single day. You got to use a paper towel or a wet washcloth and wash their face. And then you can use a grooming powder and kind of pack the area under the eyes.
I do that even on the dog. I have to wash her face every day and pack it with powder because her eyes run. So I get tired of all the staining on her face. And she's not white, thank goodness.
Yeah. And I do think the amount of staining that you get out of the eyes sometimes has to do with what's in their food. And that goes back to even obesity. If you're putting junk food in them, then you're going to have problems with the dyes that are in the food or the allergens that are in the food. Or, even, there's too much carbs in the food. So it's definitely a good idea if you're trying to get your cat to lose weight. Definitely start looking at the food that you're giving them. and or if you're struggling with eye stains, again, look at the food that you're giving them. See if it's got a lot of dyes in it, and if it does, you might want to consider changing foods. But don't change right away. Any change in your cats should be gradual.
No, that's a good.
You do have a lot of educational tips on your website, which is cacaocattery.com. Oh gosh, here we go.
Cacao.
Cacao. Gosh, Arden. Cacao. I haven't even started drinking yet. Cacao. Cattery, and then you also have your Facebook page. I like that you have good information that's really practical and going to help, because what we put in our body and what our cats and dogs eat does make a big difference, right, Nurse?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
All right. We want to also recognize that the Cat Fancier Association is a big fan of all cats, purebreds, and those who we don't know who their mama and daddy are, like my boys, Rusty and Casey. So, Kathy, tell us quickly about the CCW.
Yes, the Companion Cat World Program is our way to recognize those non-pedigreed cats for a one-time fee of $13. You can register your cat. If it qualifies, you can take it to a cat show and get titles on it. So check it all out, cfa.org/CCW. And Destiny was licking the card.
Come in. All right. We have coming up Thursday night, tomorrow night is my next cat first aid class. Rusty says, you got to come join us. We've taught people all over the world. It's live via Zoom, and it is veterinary approved. It's a 3-hour class. Or you can contact me at Pet First Aid for You, and we can do a private class for some of you folks that have cats. So Rusty says, I'll be there. I hope you will too. I will cause mischief to my big brother, Casey. All right. So we're going to celebrate all cats at this time as I put on my bartender hat or apron. And I've got a great kitty cocktail for you guys. It's called the Strawberry Gin for the Pretty Kitty Win. How do you like that title, Carissa?
That's good.
All right.
My sister likes strawberries.
This is kind of a sweetened up the classic gin and tonic, so I think it's perfect. Again, these graphics are brought to you and designed by All Breed Cat Judge and Cat Talk editor, our friend, Teresa Kiger. Thank you, Teresa. So here we go. You guys ready? All right, here we go. To create the strawberry gin for the Pretty Kitty Win, you take your cocktail shaker and you put in some sliced beautiful strawberries, and you also want to put some lime wedges, and my favorite tool, Kathy knows, the muddler.
The muddler.
You take all your brush sections, you squish them, you put them all in there. All right. Now, you also want to add a little sugar, or for us chicks, stevia. So you put one of these, and you want to put, are you ready for this? You want to put some 3 ounces of gin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What the heck? Put some ice in that. Put the lid on it. Shake it. Get your glass ready with the ice. Pour this in. Look, it's already got kind of a nice hue to it. Slowly add some club soda, because the gin, club soda. I do this better than tonic water. Now, it doesn't look very pretty. We can resolve that. Get a nice strawberry. Top it with a few little sprigs of mint. Ta-da! What do you think, Carissa?
Nice.
All right, so at this time, guys, let us all raise a glass to cats all over the planet, purebreds and mud cats. They make us better humans. Cheers, kitties.
Cheers.
Wow. Hey, guys, we got about a minute left. So it is my honor. I have learned tons from you, Carissa. In fact, I have to write a grooming article for a magazine. I'm going to call you because you have some really smart, great tips. We want everybody to go to the cacaocattery.com, CACAO.com. I wish you much success in the show ring and in life. And thank you for being who you are, Carissa.
Thank you.
And my co-pilot, look at the tail showing, that's Rusty. I want to give a shout out to my co-pilot, Kathy Black, and her cute dog, Destiny. Casey and Rusty are running around somewhere. We want to thank the Cat Fancier Association and, of course, our sponsor in Clover, the makers of cat and dog supplements. Next week, we have a therapy cat named Baxter and his human, Terry Jennings. We're going to learn about the world of therapy cats. So until next time, raise a glass, same cat channel, same cat time. We'll see you on Meowy Hour. Thank you, everybody. Keep coming back. We love it.
Bye, Carissa.